Three. Welcome back to another episode of the Unscripted Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Eduardo, and I'm here with my co-host, Edward. What's up, Edward?
What's going on, Ed?
Not much. Another week in the books of the NFL. I mean, we still got one more game. It's still, we're recording this before the Monday night game, but you know what? It was a great week of football. A lot of points scored. Definitely not a lot of points scored in the Sunday night game. Kind of boring game, kind of a
Yeah, I
snoozer.
don't think. Yeah, don't really. I don't know. I don't know what time I fell asleep, but I definitely know I fell asleep during that game. But I'm pretty sure, unless you were in the New York area, I don't think anybody was really watching that thing.
Back to back snoozing, boring Sunday night games, but you know what? Yeah,
Excuse me, back to
that.
back.
Well, the other one was pretty late, and you know what? It wasn't that
That
many.
that was an issue of Mother Nature. That was
but
out of everybody's control. Okay.
it wasn't that much. That wasn't that really exciting to watch, anyways. But I mean, because it's always. I mean, people were somewhat tuned in because Steelers Cowboys, but it wasn't that many exciting game. But that was last week. We're in weeks. This is week 6 of the NFL. What is your biggest takeaways of week 6 that you saw this Sunday pass?
Well, I was tuned in. I don't know what you're talking about with that game, but I was tuned in, and uh, kind of touching back on like week five
Mhm.
for anybody who didn't stay up to 1 in the morning. Unfortunately, the Steelers lost that game. But I have a question.
Yeah,
Do you know who Jordan Lewis is? Are you familiar with that name?
somewhat, somewhat.
Well, I just think he's a nobody, but yeah, he's a defensive back for the Dallas Cowboys, and I saw that little clip after the game. He was kind of like talking some talk, saying that Steelers need another receiver. He was kind of talking bad about my boy GP George Pickens, and
Uh,
I see that next week he played they
the
played
line.
the Detroit Lions and they lost 47-9.
And they had another issue, right, with Amon St. Brown that he posted
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah. I saw what Amon Ra posted. Shout out to fellow podcaster Amon Ross St. Brown.
Hmm.
Said Jordan Lewis. He kind of talks more than he plays, and
Yeah,
I see that Amon got the last laugh. He's paying attention to his IG story. So yeah,
yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll talk about more about the series. We didn't get a chance to record last week, but I was gonna touch a little bit about the receiver core. But let's just but that's all you that was your takeaway from week 6 of the NFL.
it just feels good to bring this water bottle back. But yeah, as you can see from
Wait,
my
can you
back,
show it to the camera again. Show it to the camera. Where it
yeah,
said Jordan Lewis tears. Okay. On Victory Monday, John Cena on the stream of Kai Cenat last night. And the
it's just a
Steelers.
white sign. It's just a white sign. Carson out was streamed by himself. What are you talking about?
What you mean? With John
It's,
Cena.
who?
John Cena.
I just see a blank sign that says Victory Monday. I don't know what you're seeing.
I don't know what you're saying. All right, so then let's just get right to the episode. Um, I mean, man, it was a lot that happened. Man, the Cowboys. Let's just start with the Cowboys. What in the world happened to the Dallas Cowboys? They got their ass whooped in Jerry World on in the day Jerry Jones's birthday.
His
What
82nd birthday. Ain't that something?
man, these Cowboys, they do stink. But you know what? Who do you blame in this everything that's happened to the Cowboys? The Cowboys are 3-3. Um, but obviously everybody kind of previewed this game. Everybody kind of knew what everybody knows what the weakness of the Cowboys is their defense, and they can't stop the run. And the Detroit Lions, what do they do best? Run the football with the two-headed monster, Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs.
Mm,
Um, David Montgomery had 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jameer Gibbs, he only had 63 yards, but he's still he was efficient. And then the receiving, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, he scored that one catch he had for 52 yards. That was up for the touchdown.
yeah.
But man, these Cowboys, they
I
really do.
mean, when the score pretty much ends 47-9 and this Cowboys can't put up any type of offense, really the only takeaway is the Lions just did anything. They just did anything they wanted. They were even getting the linemen involved. They were getting
And,
the
but
linemen involved with the
but that's
scoring
like,
plays.
and it was the kind of saying like it was like a slap, like a fu to the Cowboys. Obviously, what happened last year in like, one of the regular season games where I guess one of the linemen, he did signal call that he was. and then the ref said that he wasn't, and that's
Hmm.
how the Lions lost the game. But it was kind of like a F you to them, like, you know what, we're gonna come here in your house and just whoop that ass,
Yeah,
and that is what they did. That Prescott does not look good, did not look good at all. 17 for
yeah.
33, 178, two interceptions. Um, Cooper Rush came in and he still got an interception. But man, these Cowboys, they cannot run the football. They can't stop the football. But all of this could have been prevented if, one of the things is that they could have signed Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry clearly wanted to go to the Cowboys. He trains in the offseason in Dallas, has a home in Dallas. Jerry Jones did not get what, he didn't go to free agency. He signed the people that he already had, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and he didn't sign any free agents.
I
Obviously, I know
mean,
that. Yeah,
their
go ahead.
running game. I don't really know much about the running game. They got a guy I think named Rico Dowdle. Don't really know much about
Dowdy
him.
and Zeke, but Zeke is not what he
Yeah,
used to
Zeke.
be.
He's kind of he was kind of in his prime maybe like 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's kind of funny what he said about like their. So the Dallas Cowboys are currently sitting at 3-3, and pretty much every home game they've had, they've kind of been embarrassed. They got blown out by the Saints at home,
Mhm.
and yeah, Derrick Henry pretty much just ran. I pretty much had like a season high at Jerry World, and they just got blown up by the Lions at Jerry
Yeah,
World. They just keep getting embarrassed at home, and
they were
it's
just more
really bad.
physical. Yeah, Lions were just more physical. Their defense really stepped up. They had like they kind of like what punched the football for like a fumble. It just all went. The Lions just did whatever they wanted to do to the Cowboys. But this is all we all everybody kind of knew prior to the season that this Cowboys team wasn't that great. They didn't really sign that many free agents. Like I said, um, the team that was like 2 years ago and last year, that team was better. But do you think the window's closed? Obviously, it's been years since they have won the Super Bowl, but the best chance that they had was last year, maybe possibly 2 years ago, and this team is even worse now.
I mean, it's just kind of like a ripple effect. It's kind of funny you brought that up because I'm about to go back to that. Yeah, it was kind of like a ripple effect from last year's playoff game against the Packers, where they just really
Mm-hmm.
just got punched in the mouth in that first quarter, and the
Mm-hmm.
Packers, like I said, just did whatever they want to them. And that was pretty much Jordan Love's coming out party, and I think that parlayed into like his off-season contract.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I mean, they haven't won a championship in almost 30 years, so I don't know. It
But
feels like kind of redundant to say like if their window's closed, they
but it's just
just
like I think you know what, man, any Cowboys fan listening, I think it's just time to just stop with like every year happens the same thing. The team gets 12 wins, this and that. Maybe they go to the playoffs and they get out of the first round. That's what's happening every year. But until like something
we're
happens,
at a, we're at a point in time where like the expectation is we know they're not going to win a Super Bowl soon. They're not going
until
to win it
like
next year, and I'm pretty
until
sure
they
they're not
do
going to win it the
something.
year after that.
But what do you think has it? Like I'm not gonna put all the blame in Mike McCarthy. Obviously, I think it just the first person to blame in all this is like Jerry Jones. Like I said, that he could have signed free agents. They could have made it work. They could have signed Derrick Henry, and you see what he's doing in Baltimore. We're gonna talk about that later, but you see what he's doing with the Ravens. You knew the weakness that they needed a run game, and they didn't sign him. Like, and he wanted to go there. That's where it all starts. And obviously, you paid that Prescott. He hasn't looked good. Obviously, we're gonna sign CD, but obviously, and they did have injuries. You know what? I understand they had injuries on the defense side, Michael Parsons, but like, this team just it's
I
not
mean,
good, man. They suck.
yeah, when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, the buck stops with Jerry Jones, and you got a little defensive when the reporter asked him that question, but it was a valid question, and it's just yeah, it's basically like kind of what you said. If you're a Cowboys fan or just a part of the Dallas Cowboys, where do you go from here? Because their next schedule, they have a
It's
bye
not
week, and then they have to go to San Francisco and play the
that's
Niners, and then they have
that
to
that
go to
would be
Atlanta and
L.
play the Falcons,
They're not easy
and
either.
then they're back in Jerry World in Week 10 against their rival, the Philadelphia Eagles.
And what did all of those three teams do? They run the football. They can run the
Absolutely.
football. They have great running backs. Those are, to be honest, I see them 3-6 by the time it's week 10, the end of week 10. I see them losing those three games. I really do. I don't see it. They're like what, four straight loss at home, and with all those points that they've been scored on at home, including like the like playoffs from the previous one and these two games, like it's not looking good in Dallas. And it's just like you got embarrassed at home. Like, what more do you need to make some changes? You see other places, they make changes immediately, but it's just like, well, I mean, we'll talk about that either later, but
Yeah.
like,
Even after that game against the Eagles, they got the Battle of Texas with the Texans after that. Then they have a divisional rival game coming to Landover against the Commanders, and their Thanksgiving games against another divisional rival, the Giants.
yeah, it's you know what? I don't even think if they don't turn stuff around, I don't even see them making the playoffs, and it's not gonna be a great offseason and for them, and then just
We're
this
just
might
going to be
end
back to
quick.
where they were last off season.
Yeah, it's gonna get pretty ugly. I don't think they're even gonna make the playoffs because the NFC looks pretty. There's a lot of good teams in the NFC, the whole division that they can make the wild card and stuff, but there's a lot of good teams there. So I don't know, man. I just don't see. And if they do make the playoffs, let's just be honest, it's just gonna be a first round exit, and all the Cowboys nation, all they all gotta know they're gonna get out of the first round. This team sucks. It's not good.
With the performance they put together, I can kind of understand why that viral clip of that girl puking. I think, I think that's just a reaction to Cowboys football right now.
Yeah, it's not good, just but like I said, there was just the kid, the Lions fan just doing the gritty on them, on the girl throwing up. But yeah, man, who knows
Oh
what they're gonna
yeah,
do?
yeah. I just want to say another shout out to Amon-Ra St. Brown. So his name means sun god in Egyptian, and I guess that Dak Prescott intercept second one he threw, you can kind of
Mhm.
see the sun was kind of in his face, and there was no open receiver. It was just another. He just threw it to
Yeah,
a white jersey, and maybe that's just a sign of things. The sun was in
yeah,
his eyes, and Sun God got the last laugh. He had a touchdown that game.
yeah. But I mean, we'll see what happens. They're on. You said they're on a bye, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cowboys after this game, it's a bye week.
it's gonna be. We'll see what happens with the Cows, but like I said, I don't see them making the playoffs. Let's move on to the next game. The Battle of the Beltway. This game was obviously hyped around the area that we're currently at, where we live in, the DMV. Um, it's been a while since Washington's been a relevant team, uh, a good team. It's been a while, like prime time and like just like on TV more often, on the news, on the sports news. It's been a
Yeah,
while,
truthfully,
and
this game should have been the Sunday night primetime game. Don't know why.
I think it's time to start flexing the certain games. But yeah, man, the Commanders took on the Ravens. The battle of two former Heisman Trophy winners, somewhat similar abilities. Jaden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson, and it was a pretty close game. Um, Obviously the first quarter was 3-3. Um, the Commanders got an interception after I don't know how many. It was like literally they were talking about it in the during the game, and then I don't know where they got an interception. Um
hmm
but I mean, just the Ravens were a little bit too much. We kind of knew that they were going to run the ball. Washington had a lot of injuries on the defensive side. We also didn't have Brian Robinson Jr. Um
hmm
so he also was a factor, especially on the red zone. But Derrick Henry ran for 132 yards, two touchdowns, and you know what? We couldn't even stop Zay Flowers either, man. Lamar was just looking for him every single game. The whole game he was looking for him. Nine catches for 132 yards. They had
Mark Andrews came out of hiding.
yeah, everybody, all fantasy owner, Mark Andrews fantasy owners, they finally scored. But you know what? Even though the Commanders lost, it showed me that there's promise in the future and that they were able to at least go to toe to toe with AFC Giant, which right now they're the best team in the AFC. They kind of kept it close
Yeah,
and
there was a point we kind of like saw Ravens football and pretty much we saw like Lamar Jackson's basically the offense, or like as long as Lamar's running the ball, that's pretty much how the Ravens are going to stay in games. But now that they got Derrick Henry, he's that lead back, and as long as Ricard, the guy Ricard blocking for him, Derrick Henry can pretty much just do whatever he wants, and he's not looking like a senior citizen.
And then, like I said, like that's what the Cowboys needed. Lamar, like I said, what did he do? He uh 2 for 26, threw for 323 yards, one touchdown, one interception. I mean, right now the Ravens looking like they could easily be 5-1. Obviously, what could have happened in the season opener against the Chiefs,
Yep.
if likely would have, you know, he would have been his toes right on the end zone. They could easily be 5-1. This team looks dangerous. They did great job signing Derrick Henry, and that
Hmm.
that's what they needed. They needed to run the football, and they signed Derrick Henry. Obviously, they got Justice Hill, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers. He can be using in some running options. But yeah, man, this game was very entertaining. Like I said, any thoughts about the game? I don't know if you're obviously, I'm sure you were watching some of it. Um,
I mean, yeah, pretty much number one takeaway is that even though Jay Daniels he went 24, 35, 269, two touchdowns, he didn't look rattled. He still has good he had a lot of poise
he
and
doesn't have many mistakes, and I think that's
mhm.
what he's very careful with the football. And he makes certain throws where it's just like, man, like I can't believe this guy's a rookie, and he's only a rookie, and he's able to make those type of throws. I think the last touchdown to McLaurin, that was a great ball. Yeah, man, he looks really good. It's very promising as long as the offensive line kind of takes care of him. He slides when he needs to. He only ran for 22 yards. I think that's the least he had this season. Um, but I mean, this team looks promising. I can easily they play the Cardinals next, and they have a pretty. Let me see their schedule. I can see them pretty. They're they play they play the Panthers next. That's a that's a W. Even though the Panthers gave the Falcons some trouble, they played the Bears. The first pick versus the second overall pick. That should be an interesting game. We'll see. They play the Giants and in New York, so we'll see that one. And then we play your Steelers, but it's gonna be in Washington, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see. It's promising. Towards the end of the schedule, it looks the Titans, that should be a W because the Titans pretty much stink, and Will Levis will most likely throw an interception or do something every
Will
week.
Lev
We'll
Hey,
do
Will Levis has been providing us a lot of entertainment. Like he's been consistent week after week. it, I'm enjoying I'm enjoying his reactions more than his performance.
his reaction, his memes. Obviously, he did it. He did the Spider-Man celebration. He hurt the ball boy. The ball boy was going off. I think when I tuned in, I was like, they said Will Levis, and I just thought, wait, Will Levis got hurt or something? Like I didn't know it was the ball boy, and he was the one that hurt the ball boy. Like I said,
Will Will Levis is just the gift that keeps on giving.
yeah. So just stay tuned. Will Levis, you never know what he's gonna do each week. It should be interesting. But yeah, man, it's exciting time around this area. Both NFL teams in here are doing well, so we'll see. Let's move on to your Steelers. Obviously, now we're gonna talk about your Steelers that played against the Raiders at
Yep.
Allegiant Stadium, but it was more like a home game because, like we all know,
Yeah.
Steelers fans travel.
There was
Um,
definitely a lot more black and gold and black and silver.
yeah.
I mean, I feel fine about that. I don't know how Raider fans feel. They are kind of going through a lot right
But
now.
you know what? I think these newer stadiums they're more filled with like away fans. Like obviously you see SoFi usually away fans. Even if it's the Rams, Chargers, mostly the Chargers they're away fans that usually go to that game. But I'm thinking like most of these away fans they just go visit the new stadiums and
Yeah,
then more of the
Vegas
pack.
is just the tourist destination, so
But we
you
all
know
know
you already know what the draw is in Vegas. It's just anybody can come, just come have a good time, just enjoy the casinos, the Sphere,
yeah.
and hey, we might as well just watch this football game.
Yeah, but talk
But
talk talk about the game. You obviously you tuned in the game. This game was kind of during the time while I was watching my Chargers play. But yes, talk about the game. You guys won 32-13. Pretty easy W on. the shitty ass Raiders. They don't know what they're gonna do to that organization. But talk about the game.
I mean, the Raiders scored. They got that touchdown in the red zone, but I didn't worry about none of that. Pretty much after the half, the Steelers pretty much got everything going and pretty much pretty much got back to the run game. Justin Fields, he ran the ball for 11 attempts, 59 yards, had two touchdowns. Also threw the ball he completed 14 passes for 24 yards, 145 yards in the air. Didn't make any mistakes, and I just like that the Steelers got back to the run game, and Najee
But
Harris had his first
there was a
100
sighting of
yard
Najee
game.
Harris. There is finally a sighting of Najee Harris. He finally scored. He was part of the option, but I think that's what the Steelers offense should more focus on is the run game. Artie Smith should more focus on the run game
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, like how you said, was that what's that corner that saying that there's no receivers or something like that, and that's what I was
Guy
gonna talk
named
about.
Jordan Lewis.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna talk about last week, but we didn't record. Um, I still feel that you guys need a another wide receiver. Obviously, George Pickens, obviously he's talented. You know, he has great potential. You see signs of him that he does well, but I still feel like in certain, like let's say you guys make the playoffs, I feel like in certain moments or at a certain time, you guys need another receiver to kind of take some pressure off Pickens. You know, they either double
Mm-hmm.
covering him, or they can, or the other receiver can. They're guarding the other receiver and leave George Pickens open. Obviously, you guys have Fryermuth. You know, he's important. You know, I like the way he plays. You know, he's a great tight end. But I still feel like you guys need another receiver, and
Well, I
and that's where you
mean,
know that Devontae Adams. You know, who knows what you guys would give for Devontae Adams, or you guys were even interested in Devontae Adams.
I mean, I hear and see everything you're saying, but well, one, I wouldn't rule it out, but also I'm pretty sure AP and Tom Telesco aren't going to want to do business with a team that just beat the brakes off them right then and there. So that's
But you
still
know,
up
certain
in the
picks are worth,
air.
you know, who never knows, you know, they're having quarterback issues and you know, Russ is still there and you know, you say this is all speculation, but you never know. Like I still feel like you said who is your GM? Your GM is
Omar Khan,
Omar Khan. Like you said, he did
Khan
all the
Artist.
yeah, all the stuff that the Steelers normally don't do. They got Justin Fields, they got Russell Wilson, everything they normally do. Who knows? Who says that they don't go get Devontae Adams? I still feel like they need that second receiver. And you know, even when like you guys had AB and Juju was there and he got, you know, he was the second receiver, but he shined out, took some he was wide left wide open and you know, AB was still there. And I still feel like you guys need that second receiver because who are your receivers?
I
Calvin
mean,
Austin. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Calvin,
look, this is. I know this is probably going to be one of those times you call me biased, but yeah, we got Calvin Austin scored against the Chargers. We activated a guy from the national championship, Roman Wilson.
Mhm.
He was injured, but it was his first game he actually got to play. So I've seen his highlights. He's when healthy, he can be a guy. And speaking of national champion, just one more thing, Jordan Lewis talking about disrespecting George Pickens. Let's not forget he was on that national championship team when Georgia won it
with us.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so put some respect on GP's name. I'm not gonna stand for that disrespect. Just
Yeah.
letting you know.
But I mean, like you guys have Darnell Washington. You know, he's great. But
Another Georgia champion.
you know, Van Jefferson. I still have not seen a sighting of it, Van Jefferson. But you know, I still feel like you guys need another receiver. Luckily, you guys, you know, your run game is really good. I think Archie Smith should focus on that. Najee Harris, as long as he's consistent, you know, he scored. He ran the football really well yesterday. Very, you
He's
know,
been consistent.
a powerful.
He went back to his leaping. He lunged from the 5 to the 1 on that touchdown. So
Yeah,
that's just
he
Najee
did
being Najee. I'm used to
very,
it.
very, very hard running on Najee. You know, you got Jalen Warren back, and then you guys have what's the other running back you guys have? Najee, Jalen Warren. Oh no, you guys got Cordell Patterson. You guys still have
Yeah,
Cordell
he's
Patterson,
injured,
and then the
and
RPO game.
we have a guy we just I think we got him from the practice squad.
Yeah, and then you
We just
got Justin
activated him from
Fields,
practice squad.
and I think that in that I don't know which was it the second touchdown that Justin Fields scored, kind of like you know. he's holding on to the ball, but he has the option to run, and that's what he does on the end zone and that in the red zone. Like he has the option. Now he's gonna outrun the defense, and
It was that first touchdown run where he got in. It's like that's the Justin Fields I remember from Chicago. Like he can be a weapon running the ball, and he just gets that. He's able to just split that edge, and just will his way to the end zone. So
yeah,
the offense, there have been ebbs and flows this season, but I'm still not hitting the panic button. We're currently 4-2,
yeah. I
and
mean,
we're back
still,
on.
but
It's Sunday
the
night football next week with the Jets.
yeah,
So
and the Jets are playing right now. Who we'll see what happens with them. Right now, they're winning 3-0. They scored a field goal, but who knows? A lot of speculation say Russell Wilson's there now. Do you think if Justin Fields has a bad game, do they put in Russ? Like not immediately, but I'm saying like during the game. Let's say he's going bad and it's kind of off their hands anymore. Like they can't win, and Russ kind of shows some signs of good football. Do you think they ever make the change, or do you think that Justin is the guy now?
I'm not losing hope if Russ were to start. I feel like now that he's healthy, he's going to do whatever it takes for the team to win. If he does
Mm.
means being a backup quarterback, he seems like someone that's not going to have that ego of not being a starter. Because I saw a clip. He was reunited with his former Seattle teammate who we should have ran the ball to in that Super Bowl, Marshawn.
I'm not sure.
Said what's They exchanged pleasantries, said what's up. Seems like they're on good terms. So I'm sure Russ will just do whatever it takes for the team to win and relish in whatever role he's in. So I'm not worried about any of that. Four and
Yeah,
two, and everything just looking good.
yeah,
No
everything's looking
worries.
good. Yeah, man. Let's just get through some topics, certain topics. Somewhere that's not very looking good is one. It's in Philadelphia, and another place is in Cleveland. Let's just talk about the Philadelphia, the Eagles part. They won, but those fans, like I said, they're never happy. They won, and Nick Sirianni, he made them. The fans were booing him. What, like last week, and or they were in the
Maybe
bye or something.
they were booing him, maybe probably because some of the decisions he made that kind of contributed, maybe like them losing the game.
Yeah,
But if you kind of look at that clip of him, he was kind of going back and forth with the Philadelphia Eagles fans. With that fan base, they just like to they like to talk smack, they like to talk trash, and they're
that's what
just
he was
loud.
doing.
They're loud, but in his press conference, he said like
He baby
the guy,
faced that. He
yeah,
baby
the
faced
guy.
making
He said the guys
bringing.
kind of miss like him, kind of like talking smack. So you kind of see on the sidelines, you see some of the players smiling, and I think the players kind of like encouraged him to like maybe we should go back to that because kind of that year they went to the Super Bowl, and the year after that when they were kind of going on runs, Sirianni kind of had a reputation for just talking smack whenever they won, and maybe that maybe that's what the Eagles need. They were kind of looking iffy, but if they go on a run, maybe Sirianni is going to keep continuing that, and they'll probably just be the fire they need
But
to like
but
keep those wins up.
those fans, they're still not gonna be happy. Maybe if they keep winning a few more games, then yeah. But you can never make them happy. They're always gonna be mad at something. Um, Now the Browns. Like I said, we didn't talk about this last week. Man, Deshaun Watson just when do you think, or do you think they will ever go to Jameis Winston? Jameis Winston. Do you ever think that the season's pretty much they're 1-5, and there was one play that Deshaun he that arm strength is not there. Like it was one pass he underthrew the pass through to Jerry Judy, and it could have been a touchdown, but
Yeah, I know what play you're talking about.
and it could have nearly been intercepted, but obviously the two Eagles the defense they bumped in, but he just underthrew it, and I just don't see that arm strength that he once had, and who knows what it is? Is it mental, physical? Like, what is it that Deshaun Watson has, and do you think they'll go to Jameson Winston? Jameson Winston.
I mean, yeah, they are 1-5, and if those losses continue to stack up, then their playoff chances are pretty much done at this point. And truthfully, I would not rule that out because he's thrown for 1,020 yards, only has 5 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions,
A QBR 76.
and honestly, at this point, the Deshaun Watson from the Texans is kind of just like fading into like
But
obscurity, you know.
and it's not like they can. It's like it's the contract that they can't bench him. It's literally the contract. I feel like Kevin Stefanski wants to move on from him. He wants to put Jameis Winston in, but I feel like the owner is just like no. And I feel like everybody thinks that, and it just what more does it have to take? It's literally the contract that they're not gonna bench him. The fully guarantee that they gave him. It's
It
just
was
that
it was kind of raising some questions once they signed him, but now the let's fast forward to now it's starting to look like a very, very, very bad decision on the front office's part about giving
even
him that contract.
like even when they signed him, they gave him full contract. You know, you never know what he had, and obviously we still had you know, we thought of that he still had it in him because it was an injury. Obviously, he was getting injured and during when he was in Houston time, but it wasn't injury related. He had his issues and everything. But
And I'm looking
some of
at
us,
the last 2 seasons for the Browns. He hasn't started more than 6 games, and
he was hurt
this
last
game,
season, and then he missed some of the season because of the suspension.
and this season he finally started his 6th game. But if it continues to just be like a trend of bad play, then
And and
it's
and
looking
and,
like we might see Jameis soon.
and,
That's just
and
all
it's
I
not
gotta say.
and it's not the coaching because last year they had Joe Flacco, and you see what he did, and he took them to the playoffs, and you see what he's doing in Indianapolis. Obviously, this completely different situation, but like like what are they gonna
Now,
do
kind of
now?
raises
Now
the it kind of raises the question like if he continues this trend, it's going to be like that constant Cleveland quarterback cycle of well, now we have to start from scratch all over again, and they still cannot find a consistent quarterback.
yeah. But
That's
let's
just
talk
that's just life as the Browns.
right before we end. Let's talk about Joe Flacco. Do you think he should start over Anthony Richardson? Anthony Richardson is reportedly supposed to set to play against the Dolphins. Do you think it's smart, or you think it's better that Joe Flacco continues to start because they're looking good? I can't like what is he like 40 years old and he's the way that he's playing and offensively they look good. The Colts look good. Is it better for Anthony Richards to kind of learn from Joe Flacco and just sit out? And some players they want to win now. And as a player, you kind of want to win now and don't want to develop certain players. Like, what do you think?
I feel like there are moments when Anthony Richardson gives them a chance, but he does have an injury history, and I think Flacco he's fine being a backup, and he'll just do whatever it takes for the team to win. And pretty much from what we've seen, he's a capable backup at this point, at this stage in his
He's
career.
still, man, footsteps looks good. Man, he looks really good with the Colts. Like I said, who knows what they're gonna do, but I think Anthony Richards is probably gonna start. But I'm sure certain fans kind of want Joe Flacco, and I know Cleveland they kind of miss him down there. Um, yeah, man, we'll see. And obviously, the Bills and the Jets are playing right now. The Bills just scored right now. Um, so we'll see what happens. Any last words before we end the podcast?
I registered to vote.
All right, we're gonna end it right now. All right, till then, peace out. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Goodbye.